Welcome back to Mark Remeets World. I'm your host, Mark Levy, and I am so unbelievably excited to be here with you today as we are almost done with season one. Wow, it's insane that we were this far in the journey. Today I got an awesome guest with me today, Robbie Freeman, and it's gonna be great. I know you're gonna love the episode. It's really fun. We talk about season one, episode 21, Boy Meets Girl. If you haven't watched this episode yet, I incredibly highly recommend you pause this, watch it on Disney Plus, Daily Motion, on your DVDs, hop in a time machine back to 1994, whatever it takes. I'll be here waiting for you. All right. So now that you're all caught up, nothing left to do but start the show. Very awkward. And we're back. Oh boy, I'm so excited to bring in with you guys today a dear friend of mine, someone whom I may have we met before in real life?
Yes, we probably have met in real life multiple times. Actually, I know we've met in real life multiple times.
This is such an awkward thing to ask someone, isn't it?
No, I mean, it's go ahead.
Well, because like our circles are so like that.
Yes,
that's like
also what I will say, Mark, about you. By the way, I'm Robbie. I
kind
of cut you
Freeman.
off.
Yeah.
The reason that we overlap so much is that I'm just gonna say you have a very distinct look, and I was a part of the improv community. I was sort of part of the Chris Gethard community, and you were a very vocal, like out in front person in those communities. I felt
especially
so. I
Gethard,
felt like
I
knew you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, this is my friend Robbie Freeman, whom I've talked to a lot in the last few months and have met a couple times, and am an asshole for not remembering.
Do not feel bad.
But very happy to have you on the show because because you're someone that like I know watched Boy Meets World growing up, same age-ish as me, because you're a little younger. Yeah. But like it's just what a fucking insane episode this one was.
It was great.
So yeah, let's get started with the beginnings of the episode. We watched episode 21, season 1, Boy Meets Girl, which aired on May 6, 1994, directed by David Trainer, of course, and written by Janet Cottaches Burley, who wrote the other season 1 episode, Boys to Mensa. Plot of the episode's pretty simple. Hormones become a thing.
Yeah,
and
they become teenagers. What happens.
They notice girls. And there's no real beat plot in the episode, which is very not rare.
Mark, were you one of these people that were you someone who like was crushing on girls in kindergarten, or were you like a puberty person?
I was. What about you?
I was like, I had my first girlfriend in kindergarten, and I was desperately trying to kiss girls on the cheek in 4th grade.
Yeah, so we're very
like
similar.
all of that nonsense.
Yeah, it's oh my god, I love it. This episode's insane. So it starts off with an educational video that we find the title out later is the hormone telegram, right? Was it
yes.
the hormonal telegram?
Which I'm counting on you for the notes, to be perfectly honest.
Totally fine. And like you see the guys are kind of like, girls are like, oh, and Pincus is kind of like, oh, this is educational. And like, it's clearly a very old video. It's real. Like it's been around forever.
Yeah. That didn't really ring true to me as being like real life, because I remember having that conversation in 5th grade in school, and we were like separated into boys in one room and girls in the other room, and it was very like hush hush what went on in each room, and I was like, I couldn't imagine having that video being shown like to in like with girls in the room. Like it would have been just like mind blowing.
It sounds like the video showed like periods and stuff like that happening.
Yeah,
because Corey mentions that the video is gross. And like horrifying, and like literally everyone else but Corey and Sean, and like a stray extra oh, this is educational. And like I love how we get a call back to the fact that Sean's a gross child, which happens a lot of times. He does the like underarm part thingy. And
what a classic 90s joke that was.
Well, y'all love the mid 90s. I mean, we're officially there. May 1994 is the mid 90s. there's a really funny joke in this scene that would land for us, well, probably not people much younger than us, but the Telegram Boy is played by George Burns.
I am slightly too young for that joke. I
No, because I know I'm like at the cusp. Like that's the reason why. So like George Burns, he was like a guy who died at like 100. He was always like an old man, basically. Like,
yeah, I had to Google it, but I was like, oh, this joke was clearly meant for like my parents who are watching TGIF with me.
Right.
Like so that they can laugh at something.
Because it's like the guy was always like an old guy. Like he played God a lot, stuff like that, you know.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
But like, because I remember like I knew who he was because like my family is like big into comedy. So like, and like he definitely was alive while we were alive, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine he was still alive when this.
I mean, like, when I think he died like in the mid '90s or so. I'm not sure.
It is funny.
He died in '96. He was still alive when this episode aired.
Yeah, it's funny when the characters who are like, would Corey have made that reference in that moment? Probably not, but the writers sure did.
It's one of those things where it's actually conceivable in my mind that he would make that joke. You know, considering like Corey is like 2 years older than me. Like in theory, at this point in the series,
I guess you're right.
Like they jump ahead because because I was in 4th grade when this episode aired.
Yeah, I only know how old they are because they're my sister's age. Right. So I'm like, they're 5 years older than me. I'm like,
yeah. But yeah, it's that thing of like they make these dumb joke like Corey's like, this is terrible, and like every kid in the class is like, it's amazing, and like I think it's really funny because we got like one of those really great. Something Corey is saying something and then saying more important's happening like behind Corey.
Yes.
So he's like, hormones are stupid, blah, 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 blah. And then like Sean drops his pen, bumps head with this girl named that we pronounced him Hillary, who was also in an episode earlier this season, like 8 episodes ago. I found that out while doing my IMDb research. But she was like an under 5 role in that, like which is not an unimportant thing, but
it's probably her only speaking role in the show. If I had to guess.
Oddly enough, her only acting credits are Girl and Hillary. So yeah, so this is
good for her. That's more stuff that I've covered.
We have covered her whole acting career on Mark Remeets World. I respect that so much. Wow, that makes me so sad. But so like they bump heads and like instantly like in love.
Yeah. And and I love the shorthand they set up in the episode of like when a boy touches a girl and just starts giggling and that means they're in love because it happens to Sean. And then later on in the episode, Corey's dad, Alan, he like makes a joke about how the laugh happens. And then later on in the episode, it all culminates in Corey laughing. Yeah. And you're just like, I love this shorthand that they develop. Just be like, this is what it means to like a girl. You giggle.
It's true, though.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, it's the simplest form. It's perfect.
And it's also like a really dumb giggle. It's like, yeah, it's like a really silly, dumb giggle. And then I think that's the end of the opening sequence. And then we get to like it's like, how do you ask a girl out? Like, you know, like back then, like I remember I struck out so many times. Like I was a guy that was attracted to girls from like kindergarten, but I was so bad with people that like I'd be like, hey, you want to go out? Like, oh no, and then they run away.
I want to say that I have not improved since kindergarten. I think my ability to ask women out is about the same quality where I'll do it, but it's awkward as fuck. I have this memory of being in 6th grade and having my friends literally like shove me towards another girl as the girl was pushed over. I asked her out. She said yes. And then the next day she was no longer interested in dating me. It was the love of my life in 6th grade. But
we gotta find Robbie's love of his life again, okay?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like I remember there's a vibe of like being afraid to ask the girl out, doing it, trying to ask to a friend, like the whole thing. Like, I mean, a lot of this rings true. Like,
I remember like in 6th grade, I asked out every girl in my 6th grade class, which was like 30 people. Like 30 girls.
You cold called your entire class.
I didn't do that. I was not Eric about that, but I literally was like, I pretty much asked out almost every girl. Okay. Like at least 85% of the girls. Which
I mean, at that point, I feel like you got to ask out the last 15%.
I mean, I would tell sixth grade Mark that now, but I mean,
that's good as long
I
as
do
you
wonder
mature.
if I would be a lot less awkward with girls if I started dating successfully younger.
I think so. I believe that. I feel like peak men or women, I think any gender, kind of you develop that confidence when you're young dating. I feel like you carry that confidence for like the rest of your life. And if you don't, you have to build it up at a certain point.
I mean, I don't have confidence when it comes to dating. Like that's real.
We're quite similar.
And like I'm very lucky to be in a relationship for the last year and a half almost, but like my brain's just like
I got you. I feel like,
don't say the dumb joke. But you're gonna say
we're both more of the Corey than we are the Sean.
Yeah. Wait, two nerdy Jewish guys or like Ben Savage? Never. So I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit. Like Eric's technique of asking girls out is actually horrifying.
Yeah.
Eric
is a horrifying character in the early seasons of Boy Meets World, but like he's still normal, he's still a functional human being.
Yeah.
But he is just he is a stereotype. He's like a Zach Morris. He's that guy. He's suave.
I don't know if he's bad. I don't know if he's bad as Zach Morris. I think he's just very. It's like Zach Morris is a wholly horrible human being.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, Eric is more singularly focused on women.
Eric is very focused on getting laid.
Yeah, like he uses like memory techniques and like the gimmicks that Eric uses across the first couple of seasons to get women is really funny. Like even my favorite episode, like he goes on Singled Out. Like who would go on Singled Out?
I mean, I would have if that was an option when I started dating. It was an option also in the spring, but Quibi ended.
Yeah.
Which yes, I was a member of Quibi the whole time they were open.
Good for you.
Some of the programming actually wasn't bad.
I'm sure it was fine. You're the only person I know who did that, but good to know.
I mean, you know what? Sometimes you just have to be that person, right?
Yeah. Hey.
But so Eric's technique is so. Okay. So for those that don't remember or didn't watch the episode, as I told you in the preview, he literally just dials numbers until someone says yes. Like in my mind, is that like the school like phone book, or is that like the phone book?
It's probably the school phone book. You used to get like a paper copy with everyone's names, their parents' names, all that stuff. So you could like have a phone tree and stuff. So that's what I believe he's doing. I also think like Eric's not doing too bad. He's a good looking guy. Even the way he's talking to Sean, he seems like he has some actual experience with.
And now he's got a car, all that good stuff is like working for him. Like this is Eric Matthews is definitely those people I feel like peaked in like 11th grade.
Yes, he becomes a totally different person as he gets older.
Because I mean, like the last time I feel like he's sane in the series is when he's doing the weather stuff for that.
Yes.
And then like it's just like he's kind of broken, and then he like
once he goes to college, once he meets Jack, once that whole stuff starts, he's a wacko.
And this is like peak smarts Eric, and oh god, it's also really fun like watching like Sean become Eric in that Eric Sean scene there. It's just like
this is also a storyline that they repeat. Like this is not the last time where like Corey is going to have a jealousy of Sean and Eric's relationship. There's like the double date episode. That's one of like actually my favorite episodes where Sean's dangerous and Corey's not dangerous.
Yes.
And it ends on the roller coaster. It's like one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, with sitting on the coaster.
Yeah, and it's the same kind of thing of Corey being jealous of the Sean-Eric relationship, that Sean is more mature and advancing before him. And what it really reminded me of when I was watching was the idea that like Boy Meets World, like when it's like in the first season, is really about like what the show intended to be, of like a boy dealing with like normal life issues and like this is going to be hard, and then like a family hug at the end being like we did it. But like real. And then by the time you get to high school and you get later in high school, it becomes like we need to like get the janitor fired for going like it's like a whole thing, like where it doesn't really make any more. It's not real anymore.
I mean, a few weeks ago, I talked about like the most cliche bullies of all time. Like at the top of season 2 is when Biff is
Harley,
like
Harley Kiner.
Oh my god, and who returns, who they recast, and then they
as Adam Scott.
I just fucking
with Ethan Suplee as like his sidekick.
And the guy from the band, I forgot what band it was.
I know who you're talking about, but I refer to him as the guy from Salute Your Shorts.
That too, yes. We'll get there in a few weeks. So, I don't even know if I'm going to take up the holidays and start season 2 that way. I don't know yet, but well, no, it doesn't matter. I got like a week to decide that, really. So let me see where we were, and then like it goes to the cafeteria, and
I did have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you know what a mothball is, or have you ever thrown a mothball?
It's not a mothball they're talking about. It's malt balls.
One more time.
Malt balls.
Malt ball. What is a malt ball?
So a malt ball is, like it's like a chocolate covered. So, let me see what it can.
Oh, so is it just like a chocolate that they're throwing at people?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like some like popcorn chocolate concoction that is like some old timey thing kids did in the movie theaters.
The most traditional way that's known as is a Whopper.
Oh, okay, I know what it was. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So they're just throwing candy is what they're doing. Okay.
That's exactly what they're doing.
I just never heard of that specific candy.
Thank you, because I actually gotta write that down. That's what they did on their date. For 2 hours, they didn't watch a movie. They just threw candy at people. And it's like the most perfectly romantic thing for Sean. Not for this guy, but I don't know about Robbie.
Also, like the way that like we did it for 2 hours, and then like Eric and Corey's face drop, and they're like, we threw mothballs, and we're like, okay, got it.
Yeah. And then thank you for bringing that up, because I totally forgot about that. Like that's such a really fun thing in the episode. That like dating in 6th grade is really either seeing a movie or like being a little punk. And also the fact that they go half on the concessions is pretty cute too. I'm not gonna deny that. He
sprung for the extra butter though. You got to respect that.
Which is sadly cost extra at that.
You know what? It was 1994.
So then it goes to the cafeteria, and Minkus is talking about like Perky magazine.
Incredible fake magazine, Perky.
It's literally Teen Vogue, like every other thing that like a teen, like kind of like Cosmo, kind of.
Yeah.
Like it's literally the most cliche.
He's like, girls read this to understand themselves, so I read this to understand girls. And I'm like, first off, not bad. Like I've heard people say that. That's but it's hilarious that the fake magazine they came up with is called Perky's, because it's just like, it's pretty creepy that it's called Perky's.
Yes.
And it's like it's G-rated, but also creepy, so it's very weird.
It's just a cliche little magazine. And I realized we got ahead of ourselves by accident.
I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Because I realized that like when that little thing happens, where the first mention of Perky's is when Sean gets asked out and he does the whole giggle thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like really adorable and awkward. And Corey's like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
And it's just easy to see how smitten Sean is. Which is what happens when people get relationships.
And also, it is going to explain Sean's character through Girl Meets World. His character is the same, where he's going from woman to woman. He's lovelorn, all that kind of stuff. And this is the first instance. It's almost a sad origin story.
This is a very interesting origin story for the rest of these characters, for 3 of them at least.
Yeah, I think the Boy Meets World has some like canonical issues. Like,
don't get me started.
Like I'm pretty sure season 1 like isn't really canon, because like there's a lot of stuff with the Topanga relationship that like just doesn't check out based on like what they say in 4 seasons. So which is fine. Like I'm not gonna complain about Boy Meets World canon, but like, there's problems. Like it's very inconsistent, the relationship between Corey and Topanga as they go into high school and college, etc.
I do agree with you there. I don't think it's all of season 1. I think it's the first half of season 1. Just like especially the Topanga stuff. Yeah,
Topanga basically gets rebooted next season, which is fine.
rebooted once they kill off. Well, don't kill off Minkus, but once they end Minkus, she's
Minkus. That's a tough loss. We can talk about that later in the Minkus minute.
Yeah, we definitely will. So Sean wants to sit with the girl, because we did talk about the date and how that went, how they threw balls at people. And Corey's just like, what the hell is happening? You're taking my best friend. And Corey's lost because he's not attracted to girls. And then Minkus talks to Corey about Perky Magazine. And so I want to bring this up also before we get there, because I bring this up in episode 1. And every time that we see the vending machine before this, there's like 3 items in the vending machine normally. Now the vending machine is full of food, not just like apples, oranges, and ramen.
They probably got picked up for a full season. They had a bigger budget.
Exactly. It's not just like, oh, this is our concession table today. Let's just put like 10 of each in there.
I have a comment, and let me know if I'm stepping on the Minkus minute, but I wanna stop down on this. When I was rewatching it, I forgot how Minkus was as a character, where he is the foil, but he's not the nerd who's getting like beat up all the time. Like sometimes he is like the superior, like like improv, it's like the high status character. Yeah. So like he's like a high status smart character who's like looking down on dumb Corey, which is like a nice inversion of like the nerd trope, which I think is a really unique to this. Sometimes he is just the nerd on the show, and I like when can be the high status character like he is in this episode.
And like Lee Norris is really good at that. Like there's very few child actors like Lee Norris, like the way that he does this, because like he spends like 3 minutes of the episode explaining girls to Corey.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that in the slightest. Like Corey is the sports guy. He's friends with
funny.
Sean.
He's
funny. He's the witty bad boy.
He's kind of a bully, but not really.
Yeah, and then the nerd ostensibly is explaining like, this is how you talk to girls to him. So it's like very,
Like it's just so funny because like the first thing, like when like Minkus brings up a list in the Perky magazine, and like Minkus like, so I think number 1 is on the list of like what girls want, and he's like, oh, your loose change, and he's like, no, loose change is number 9.
That was really funny. That was a really funny bit.
That's a really funny joke that like you're like, that's really cool. That's a really funny joke for like a woman writer to write, especially back in 1994.
Yeah, that was I was like, I laughed at that. I like guffawed. I was like, oh, that's a good joke.
And then like where was it? I wrote this down verbatim because I thought it was really funny. Corey, this isn't algebra. It's something you can conceivably understand.
Like legit burns on him. Like gets owned.
Like, and then like eventually like Corey's like, okay, I gotta like understand how to ask. I'm gonna ask a girl out, and then like Minkus says, ask out the first person you see in a dress. Your mom is already taken.
And then he just like looks down, and it's funny. I was rewatching it this morning. Yeah. And he's walking, and he walks by a couple of girls, but because they're wearing pants, he does not approach them. But he sees Topanga, who's wearing a dress, so he's like, oh, a dress. I can
and
ask her
this
out.
Is how he falls in love with Topanga Lawrence.
Yeah.
This is how it happens, guys.
It's incredible.
It's like, it's so hilarious that like,
I mean, like we said, actually they met on the playground when they were 3 years old, et cetera, but we don't know what the canon says now.
I mean, like, it's so interesting because like her first episode, she does kiss Corey. That's how the episode ends.
Is that, because you know what, that I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought that was this episode. I thought the episode was going to end with him tied to the locker with his hair up and getting kissed.
Episode 4.
And when it didn't happen, I was like confused. And I was going to ask, I didn't know when it happened. I didn't realize that happened so early. It's very weird that they had that happen in episode 4. And then like basically 18 episodes later, they're like, oh, we're going to introduce this romance again. It's like, it's just kind of funny in that way.
I think because episode 4 wasn't about the romance. Episode 4 was like, let's introduce this weird character. Because Topanga was originally written as like a one-off character. But Danielle Fischel was so good that they like added her back in and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, that
so
makes a lot more sense.
In the first few episodes of the show, there are in the first episode there's a third best friend. In the second episode, there's a different third best friend.
Oh yeah, like isn't Jesse Hall from the Mighty Ducks one of the best friends in early like?
No, one of them is like kid from the Sandlot.
It's same. We're talking about the same person,
right? Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because like the crossover between like actors over the Sandlot and Mighty Ducks, and like
he plays the pitcher
like,
in the Sandlot. Yeah.
And the Big Green also. I forget about that one also in that.
Yes.
Of like 4 movies that like.
Yeah, but like they're like trying out different friends, and they like don't know who the next person is, and then they settle on Topanga as like the third, as the fourth wheel basically of Minkus, her, and Corey and Sean.
Yeah. And so like it's just so fascinating. Like he is like Hound Dog looking down, like looking for a dress, and then he sees a dress and he's Topanga. And then he's like, hey, let's get a burger. And she's like, I'm a vegetarian. He's like, let's go to your national house of salads. And she's like, I love IHOS.
Like so many jokes that I probably just didn't get when I was like, and not even like super complex, but like spaghetti and sprout balls. Like I was just like I don't think I just even like thought about what vegetarianism was
and also vegetarianism changed a lot from 1994 till now. Like changed a lot from 1994 till 2005 actually, really I'd say. But like because that's like when like options became more than just like lettuce.
Also like I had a friend in camp who was a vegetarian, and it was like weird that he was a vegetarian. Like we would like, lack of a better word, we'd make fun of him for being a vegetarian, and like it was just like not a thing that people were, and I would just like was not exposed to it, I guess. And then like now it's like super common. I don't even question it, but like it's just weird how things change. Like in 1994, I didn't know vegetarians. It was not.
It's like, they just eat salad. That's where my brain went. Like I didn't know them, but I mean, I remember being like a kid with my parents going like a health food restaurant, and it just like smelled like weird soup.
My parents wouldn't even bother trying to take me to the health food restaurant. That would never work.
And then like Corey realizes that he asked out Topanga, and starts like immediately feeling weird about it, but like okay with it at the same time. But then we get to like a commercial break, I guess, and then like comes back, and Alan's in the kitchen just chilling, and Amy comes down looking giddy, like she's only in the episode for maybe 2 minutes. Really.
I think this is like their only scene, but the two of them,
of course, just knocks it out of the park because that's what they do. Both of them, they're just such an awesome duo. But like she knows that Corey has a date.
Poor idiot.
What?
Poor idiot.
And like it's just she's so happy that's Topanga, and Alan is like, what the hell? And then like Alan has like, Topanga, Corey's always making fun of her. Oh no, this is bad. And it's just like I love this scene so much because I think like 5 or 6 episodes goes when the writers realized exactly how to write for Betsy Randle and Will Russ, because like they're so good every time that they use them from now on. It's just like two really good actors that have like a really like the backstory between them is just so fascinating, and like his is a lot more fleshed out at this point versus hers. Like you find out that like she dated a lot of guys before him, but like it's just I don't know. It's just watching them interact is a precious, beautiful thing.
And you'll have to keep me honest here because like I don't remember. So like I just jumped in and watched this episode, so like I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure before this, the big episode with Alan is the like water gun episode with the painting of the fence, and then
that's one of them.
The painting the shutters, and like that is where you really get to know Alan, and you understand his kind of like he works hard for his family. He loves his family. He wants his kids to have fun, like all of that kind of stuff. And I think you're right. You get a little bit of Betsy Randle later on.
Right, because she's like spread throughout, but like always just knocking out of the park as an actress because that's what she does. But like he is like you find out very early on that he was in the Navy. He was kind of a bad boy, kind of rebellious. Yes. That episode came up a few weeks ago. But yeah, it's just that thing of like it's just a really sweet scene of them being like, oh my gosh, our kids are like finding things.
Have they gone on their secret date yet?
Yes, that was earlier. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that was
Natasha.
Like so great. I love it so much. And then
it's amazing how much I can recall from just like by the back of my
because our whole generation is just raised on the show.
Yeah.
If you're an older millennial, you watch this show one of those airing and then like a syndication on Disney. Like that's just how it happened.
Yeah, and like the big thing for me was even as recently as like 8 years ago, it used to be on like ABC Family at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So when I would wake up for work, I would turn it on and I'd watch like an episode and a half, like while I was just like getting ready and doing whatever. So like I've watched it semi recently where I like remember everything.
It's just in our DNA, which is also part of the reason why like I actually have very strict rules for who I have for guesting on this. You have to be like an early millennial and like grew up like watching the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Sorry, I keep taking us on huge tangents. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about that. I'm very okay with that. I'd rather people know like my casting of the show than not, you know.
No, I know, but I'm just you want to get through the plot, and I'm just like, what about this whole thing that we can talk about?
I don't give a flying fuck.
Okay, cool.
As long as it's not boring, then if it's boring or incredibly awkward, I will.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, that's good to know.
Okay,
there is a limit. The limit does exist.
Whatever.
Go.
I love how this is when we finally like learn the name of what that like reel to reel movie is, the hormonal telegram, because like you find out that Alan and Amy watched it while they were kids, and like then your brain's like, is this movie magical? Because you did bring up that like Alan did his laugh.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, I think that's just good writing. It's just like a good, like, we're gonna make, like, we made fun of this 10 minutes ago, we're gonna make fun of it now. Like what I realize, it's just like the writing is really crisp and simple, and it like comedically structured in a way where like a 10-year-old can watch the show and be like, oh, I'm like getting these jokes, but it's like not that complicated to get, but it really works well. Like that's a really good example of a joke that like a 10-year-old can get and like feel like, oh, I'm so smart, I remember this joke, kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's just like really funny. I'm just trying to imagine, like in my mind, people like the school's like, okay, Feeny, you're gonna show this video, but letting you know, the kids are gonna fall in love and understand.
Oh, so you think it's a magical video? You think that if you watch this with someone, you're gonna like get these giggles and you're gonna wind up 50-50 shot of marrying them?
I mean, it's something kind of like it's kind of like a Cupid situation for sure. Because if you bump heads with them, you'll definitely go on a date. If you're in the same room with them, you'll probably get married and have a happy life. I don't know.
Yeah, I always love that about TV shows, just like because of just like the function of it being a TV show. Like everyone always marries their high school sweetheart. Everyone only dates the same people because they can't have other characters come in because it's not functional, but it's just like very funny. There's never like a brand new boyfriend or a brand new girlfriend like there is in real life.
It's gonna be fun when we get to the ski lodge episode of Boy
Meets God, yes.
But we'll get there in like a year,
a couple years.
Probably a year from now. I think, I don't know. Whatever. It's not that far into the series, but it's far enough to say it's whatever. So then what happens after that? Then Corey fakes the flu to get on the date.
Oh, and he's doing the basketball thing.
Yeah, like he literally fakes the flu. He's like, oh, I'm sick. And then like it cuts like commercial break, comes back and he's playing basketball with like underwear and stuff like that. And Topanga shows up at the door. Before you even start about the scene, I just want to say this is like some of my favorite writing that I've seen like in most of Boy Meets World. Okay. Like it's just a really fun, sweet, long scene.
Oh yeah.
Because we're 11 minutes into the episode. The episode's 22 minutes long. More than half of the rest of the episode is the scene.
I mean, this episode it did feel weird when I watched it because I'm like, there's only one story. And like you said, this has this big scene. And even the ending, it feels like, oh, this could have been an hour. Like they could have had multiple plot lines and it could have been a 2-part episode or something like that.
I mean, I'm not saying it's actually great.
It's a great episode. I'm just saying the pacing is odd for the episode compared to other episodes. I mean, not in a bad way.
I'd say like if you look at like a script like a 3-act structure, this like 5 or 6 minute long scene is act 2 by itself. Yep. Even though act 2 is normally the longest act.
Yes, you're right. But it's a great scene. Great scene. It's such like she comes in with the mug, and there's some jokes about the mug, like
and like the suit being very old, like the tea being old and ancient, and like she's like, why are you cheering for things? And he's like, oh, I'm sick.
Also, he's honest. Like he's immediately honest. He's like, I bit off more than I could chew. Like he kind of confesses to it, and you're like, Oh, cool. I like that. Cool.
And
Let's
what's
move
really
on.
nice is like Topanga's like, I get that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's why Topanga's the best.
Like Topanga is the best. Like, and this is like the second half of the scene is when you realize how much of a fucking amazing gold mine they have with Danielle Fischel. Because like she's about to leave and then she's like, oh, why is your lunch all over the floor? It's like, oh, I've been playing basketball, trying to throw it into the thing. And she's like, oh, okay.
And they have the underwear kind of thing.
Ninja Turtle underwear. Did you have it? I had it.
I did, but I don't think I was wearing Ninja Turtle underwear in 6th grade.
Same here, but like I think
he's a little old to still be wearing Ninja Turtle.
I think I stopped around like 3rd or 4th grade, probably.
Yeah, I would say that's about when I stopped. That.
Yeah, but I remember at that point I did not understand how underwear was. I thought like it should be big, like.
Oh yeah, I mean I wore giant boxers for a very long time. Still, I have some because I've worn them for so long.
All good. Boxer briefs, that's where it's at.
Yeah, I've like slowly been shifting to boxer briefs, but like I still have some normal boxers that are just like still in my rotation, and I'm like, gotta move on, Robbie. Gotta make that full transition.
So then, so he's like, yeah. So what you do is you do commentary while you're like throwing it into the basket, and he's like talking about this elaborate thing where he's like triple guarded.
He gives an
jumps
example,
over Shaquille O'Neal, and like he like bounced off the couch and like that's it. And she, oh, that sounds like fun. And she's like, I'm not that athletic. He's like, well, it's all about the commentary. And she's like, okay. And then like
I'll do the commentary, you do it. And she,
literally just stands there.
And then he goes, Jordan fades back, goes to the right, goes to the right, goes to the right, and he's gonna, and he slams dunk, and she just goes.
She just walks over there, and then, and it's just the funniest thing of like, few people like can do what she does as like, as I hate using this term, but it's the best way to describe it, as foreign child. Like unaccustomed to like the things like my brain also goes like Mork and Mindy,
like ignorant,
well, not ignorant, but like just
not
like,
ignorant, but like unaware.
I don't know what
unaware.
Yeah, exactly.
She plays it really well.
Yeah,
and it's like obviously over the top because she's like like she goes to a normal school. She would know all these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then but like as you said, like you could have cut the scene there. But the scene goes on another 4 minutes or something like that, where it's
a long scene. Like
and he starts guarding her, and like,
and he's like, all
and you have
her.
that joke, yeah. You have her guarding her, and she just goes boop, and you're like,
and she gets it from where, from there.
And you love that live studio audience reaction, like it was just great, like where they go crazy.
But also, if this scene wasn't as long as it was, then I don't think they'd be able to do as quickly as they do in the series what they do with Corey and Topanga.
Yeah, I know. I'm
like
totally
like because like the seeds of them falling in love is the scene.
Yeah, I guess so. I think that like I feel like it's more of a reboot in season 2 where it like they kind of refresh Topanga and they take the chemistry that they saw here and they like refocus it. Right. Because Topanga is a different character. It's effectively a different character next season. So like that's my only quibble with that.
Right. And then after like she scores, he goes for high fives, and he giggles.
And then he giggles. And it's the perfect button. It's like, okay, you're like, oh, like they've been setting this up the entire show.
Yeah.
He's into her now. He's caught the love bug. He's gotten the telegram.
Yeah. And then like they sit on the couch and they like hang out a little, and that's like the end of the scene. Then you find out that Sean has the second date slump with Hillary. And it didn't go well, and Eric understands because it happens to Eric all the time.
Oh, Eric understands.
Oh God, don't be a creep, guys. That's all I'm trying to say.
Don't be
creep, girls. Don't be a fucking creep.
Don't be a creeper.
And then what happened?
Do better.
And then like then Eric brings up that he saw Corey and Topanga on the couch and they were looking cute. And Corey's like, that wasn't a date. That wasn't a date. Was that a date? That was.
And then they break it down. They go shared interests, like spend time together,
food, all that stuff. And he's like,
sounds like a date.
It wasn't a date. No. And then like he goes to school, sees her there. He's like, hey, what we saw was that wasn't what we did. That wasn't a date. She's like, she goes, I don't like labels, which literally says it's a date. And then she fixes his collar. And then he fixes it back to the way it was.
Then he smirks back and he fixes it again.
Yeah. And that's the end of the episode proper. And then it goes to the credit scene where you see Corey and Sean just sitting there like, oh my God, we're so tired of everything. And
we're going to stay together through our second girlfriends, our whatevers, our fiancés, our wives. And then Sean goes, our second wives. And then, and like that gets a good laugh. And then each of their love interests comes and says hi to them. And they go, peace. And then, yes,
you got the theme song for the production company correct. Okay, so anything else you want to talk about the episode before we get to the superlatives?
I would say I was a little bummed I didn't get an episode with a good amount of Feeney and without any Morgan, but you know what?
No, Morgan's in there. Morgan's in there.
She's like barely in this episode. I
I'll get you on another episode soon. Don't worry.
No, I know. I'm just like, I was like, oh, like those two characters, like two of my faves are just missing. So what are you gonna do?
So you like Morgan 1 versus more than Morgan 2?
I like both Morgans, but I think no, I think Morgan 2. Both are great actually.
They're very different purposes. Like that's
because I'm thinking of my top Morgan moments. For Morgan 1 is like the water gun episode where she's on the phone with 911 and she's like. And she's like, my dad is shooting my mom, or like whatever. And then there's a really, and then when she's older, Morgan 2, one of my favorite moments is when Eric has like gotten the girl to write the mean song about him, and she's just like walking around the house singing the song in Eric's face, like different purposes, but like both great characters, like good jokes, kind of thing.
So great, I love it so much. Yeah, no, like again, Feeney is literally in the opening scene. That's it.
Yeah, I mean that's we can move on. We got
all good
stuff to cover.
Okay, so let's get down to the Minkus minute. Minkus minute. It's so weird because the last few episodes they've been throwing everything at the wall with Minkus. Like Minkus was like a ladies' man. Minkus was Hamlet. Minkus scuba diving.
Norwegian Hamlet.
And then like Southern Hamlet. That's such a weird episode. I fucking love that episode so much.
Gorgon, bargain, darting, nerding.
But like it's just so cool that they used Lee Norris's dramatic skills while this episode. How he's like very honestly trying to help Corey in this episode, being like, hey, I understand women. May I be the best, strongest dude ever? No, but I can help you get a girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck yeah.
I don't know when this happened, and I thought it was going to happen this episode, and I guess I was wrong. When he's playing with the flowers and goes, she loves me not. That's a moment with Minkus that I always think about in terms of like, I think that might have been the earlier one when he kisses, but like he's just an interesting character because we know that he is going to go away, and it's kind of almost shocking when you're watching a deep episode in the season and you're like, he's integral. He's like a great part of this quadrangle square, whatever, of these four characters in school. And I kind of wish I saw him interacting with them in high school, like in 7th grade. Yeah.
Like, it's just really, Lee Norris is one of those actors I've always been fascinated by since I was like a little kid watching like Boy Meets World and the Torkelsons. I know like he's always been like that, like always played those like nerdy guys and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think he was on like a One Tree Hill or something like that.
Yeah. And it's just
one of those.
It just makes me so happy that like we did get him in Girl Meets World as a pretty significant character, you know?
Yeah.
But like it's
also the character he gets with him, Girl Meets World, is like hilarious.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it's like another random character from high school. It's just laughing.
It's just like the thing about the show that I love is like I feel like it's that weird thing of like I think the writers knew they didn't want to use Minkus with what they were doing once they got to high school, which I get that. So they were like, okay, Lee Norris is a good actor, just throw everything at the fucking wall and see what sticks, and just like make sure he's like a significant, because he's more significant in the last like 6 episodes of the season than he is for most of the season.
Yeah, I think the way they decided to go, and like this is probably just the choice they made, is that they decided to give Mr. Feeney another adult character to interact with.
I mean, he gets two more versions.
So basically, like Mr. Turner replaces Minkus because like they want Feeny to have his own storylines.
Yeah.
And like I guess from that perspective, it makes sense because if you have Mr. Turner and Mr. Feeny interacting, then Minkus is just kind of gonna be floating there with not much to do, especially if it's like a love story between Topanga and Corey. So
Yeah.
I get it. It just feels like, oh my God, it's a shame that we lost him.
No,
and I guess, and I'm like jumping ahead to what you should be talking about next episode, but it's just like I know it's coming, so I feel bad for him.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I mean, it's that weird thing of like, it's one of those, in my mind, it's like that like love and lost thing. It's like I'd rather have loved and lost than not loved at all.
But like
I'd rather have like Minkus for like 20-ish episodes of Boy Meets World versus none or
that is a good attitude to look at it. And like I said, I like to just talk about more of the positives of this. Like his like I was texting you, I posted it on Twitter, like Perky's is the funniest thing in the entire episode. Like him talking about Perky's or like don't make fun of the guy with the Perky's is just a funny thing. And like he nails it and he nails the high status. And I just really loved him in this episode.
It's great. And I really like, I would love to get Lee Norris on the show somehow. Just to gush at him for like an episode. Just be like, I don't want to talk about an episode where I just want to talk about you.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, shoot your shot, man.
I'll see if he has a Twitter. Okay, so then that was our Minkus Minute. Minkus Minute. And now it's time for Betsy Randle's the greatest TV mom in the world. A one, 2, 3, 4. Betsy Randle's the best TV mom. Yeah. We don't get much of her in this episode, but
I don't really agree with that.
Really? You don't? Okay.
I don't really have like you were like waxing poetic about how great she was. I don't have any problem with her as a TV mom. I have always just been partial to Alan as the parent that I engaged with most. And I also like just remember like seeing him in like American History X and having my brain explode. Like I think that was like a weird moment for me as a kid.
That's fair.
But yeah, I like Betsy Randle. I think she does. I love her character. I think she's just not. I don't like what do you love about her? Can you tell me what you love about her?
I love about her is that, which is also what I was going to talk about anyways in this bit, was that like first off, like how much she loves her kids. Like how much she is there for her kids. Like that's like number one. I think it's like a key tentpole in a strong TV mom.
Sure.
If they're not there for their kids or care about their kids in a way of like extreme love or extreme hate, then they're not a good TV mom. Also the fact that like I feel like that as a character, she has a bag of tricks that's very fascinating. One of the things I love about her is that unlike Alan, we don't get much of her backstory until later in the series, like around like season 3 or so. Like because like you learn, like you basically know that she got married young to a guy who was kind of a rebel, and she dated a lot of guys at one point.
I forgot all of that stuff, to be perfectly honest, but I believe you.
But like, also like, it's just that weird trope of like, I just like how she's a very strong woman. Like she got married young, she had kids young. She didn't finish school because that's a thing that happens. She didn't finish college because that's a thing that happens later in the series.
I think that's what my problem is that, and I was just actually on my own podcast talking about like New Girl and like whether you should count late seasons against characters you like. And I feel like my problem with Amy is that in the later seasons, I find her to be an annoying character on the show. Like when she's going to college with them and all of that stuff, and she's like pregnant again. Like why is she even a character on the show at that point? And it like she starts to actively annoy me, and I don't think Alan gets to the point where he actively annoys me as much. Okay. And I kind of look at them as equals, and like I love the push and pull that they have together. I think they equally love each other. I like both of their backstories, and I think because Alan never like actively bothers me later on, I think that's why I like Alan better now.
I can understand that. I mean, I like them both a lot. Like, I
understand. Like, you're positive. I'm just like, all right, but like, I just like that's my read on it. It was just so
funny that face me, and then like, Betsy has a greatest team on the road. Like, so like
June Cleaver.
I will
ever heard of her?
No, she's better than June Cleaver in a heartbeat. Oh my god, yes.
June Cleaver's like a perfect American mom, isn't she? Like
but she's also not a human being.
I know. Obviously, she's a Stepford wife, but like, it was the 50s or whatever.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I want my TV moms to be badass, like Amy Matthews.
Okay. I'm trying to think of good TV moms that like
other ones that have come up in my mind are like Martha Plimpton in Raising Hope.
What about Deborah Romano on Everybody Loves Raymond?
So this is a confession. I never actually seen an episode of Everyone Loves Raymond.
That's kind of shocking just because like I don't know how you didn't like just accidentally watch an episode.
Never seen one in my entire life.
I think why I think she's a good mom, Deborah Romano. Like I was not a big Everybody Loves Raymond fan, but like she's just like a normal mom. She just like she loves her kids. She fucks up. She like sometimes is mean to them. Sometimes is good. Like she could have been my mom, and like she's human, and like that's why I think I like her. And I think she's a good TV mom. I'll throw that as my candidate for greatest TV mom.
I mean, I will stick by Amy Matthews until there's reason not to.
I know. I like the Plimpton call from Raising Hope. That's a really good call also.
But also it's in the weird situation where it's a TV grandma, but which is a whole different category altogether.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
But yeah. But I don't know. I just think Amy Matthews
she's a sweetheart.
Like it's a really great this is one of those episodes where she's not in it a lot, but what she does have, she just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah. I mean, I just got to come in with fire takes because like,
no, you're good.
I don't want to be boring. I don't want to be a yes man just because I'm on Mark Remeets' world.
I know. I respect that for you, man.
I respect that.
Is that how we sound?
No. It's an inside joke from another podcast I listen to. So don't worry about it. It's one of those things.
All right. No worries. Let's get to the episode MVP because I feel like that's a good time for that. For me, Jesus, I can't really think of anyone else that comes anywhere near as good as this person is. Topanga just knocks it out of the park for me. Just literally with that giant scene, everything leading up to it, everything after it. We get the Topanga that we're about to fall in love with here.
Yeah. I literally was thinking the second before when you said MVP, I'm like, oh, who am I going to go with? I think I'm going to go with Minkus. Personally, I think that he had like the highest batting average in the episode. I think that's probably even wrong. I think Topanga's probably objectively the correct answer. I just think that I was tickled by Minkus this episode, so I will think he is my MVP.
That's cool. You're allowed to have a different MVP than me.
I know.
That's the reason I asked for yours also.
It's more of a subjective than an objective. I think objectively Topanga's the MVP of the episode, but I'm gonna vote Minkus.
They both are great with what they do in the episode. Like they're both I'd say of like all four child actors in the show, I'd say that they're probably in the top tier.
Yeah.
From the beginning. Like, I mean, although I'm not going to deny Ben Savage has always been great in my mind. Ryder Strong, not so much. Ryder Strong.
I think they're weaker than the other two. I think Topanga and Minkus are Dana Fishel and Lee Norris are better actors at this stage of the show than Ryder Strong and Ben Savage.
Well, I think what Ben Savage is given, he's better at than what Ryder Strong is given at this point.
Yes, yeah. I'm just saying. I think.
Yeah,
yes.
no.
Yeah. So I think the
Ryder Strong. I don't hate him or anything, but he wasn't that great of an actor. Until he becomes
fine.
Until like season 4, he's not.
He figures it out. He learns to cry.
Yeah. So let's do some plugs quickly because we're at that point of the episode.
Sure.
Robbie, how can people follow you, listen to you, etc.?
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at Robbie_Freeman, ROBBIE. You can follow me on Twitter at for my podcast at Kickball Friends, or you can listen to us at Kickball Friends. We just had a big episode. Like I said, we talked about New Girl with Ali Lasher, so that was really exciting. So come check it out.
Talk about Kickball Friends for the listeners.
So Kickball Friends is a pop culture podcast. We typically cover the new releases, movies, and shows from that week to kind of give you our reviews and thoughts. And we will talk about any kind of big news. And then once in a while, we will do deep dives into shows that I've recently binged. Some of our most popular episodes, we did a deep dive on Vanderpump Rules. We did one on New Girl, and we did a character bracket for Mike Schur. So those are some of our more exciting episodes. Yeah,
that's great. I got to listen to that Mike Schur episode. A
lot of fun. We went through. It was a full bracket of 16 characters from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Rec, The Good Place, and The Office. The Office. Like, it was just delightful.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun time. People gotta listen to that. I'll listen to it for sure. My plugs quickly. If you want to follow me on Twitter at MarkLevy85. If you want to email the show, be on the show, have a question for the show. If you're Lee Norris, actually, if you're Lee Norris, just
if you're Lee Norris, just DM directly.
But email me markremeetsworld@gmail.com. I'm gonna have a fun episode of my Brant Steels coming up in a week.
I gotta get on one of those, Mark.
I can get you on in the one that's airing in like 2 days, which in the
perfect
time of this airing.
If you got a spot, I'll take it.
Yeah, because like now everyone's.
I don't even know what it means. I just know that I've heard good things and I want to do it. Like I don't know if I need to be on the video. I don't know if you just use my picture. Whatever you want to do.
Use your picture. That's all.
Perfect. I love it.
There might be a video component for the Winners at War, which is coming up very soon. We've been up this week.
I hope to make it to Winners at War.
We're going to end this episode.
Yeah, we got real awkward on this. Let's talk about what's. Let me go back to Boy Meets World before we totally go off the rails. What is your favorite episode of Boy Meets World?
Ooh.
Or actually, what's better question because you're doing it right now. What has been your favorite episode so far while rewatching Boy Meets World?
Corey's Alternative Friends. I think it's just such a brilliant first episode for a character. It's also when the show, like the first episode of the show, is just like and then it's like Corey's Alternative Friends. Ooh.
It's Corey's what? Sorry?
Alternative Friends.
Okay. I'm going to watch that episode because I haven't watched a lot of episodes in a long time. So thank you for the recommendation. This was so much fun, Mark.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Robbie. I'll see you later for sure. And I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.